discuss abortion and who abortion targets since 1967. So those are going to be the topics that we cover today. You're welcome to chime in on the discussion. I hope that you do. I'm just opening my computer because I want to share some things that I found. So hold on. How are you today? Oh, goodness. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, I have two best friends. One is Zelia Milan. You guys see me with her a lot. We post a lot of pictures together. And then I have another best friend who I don't talk about so much, but she and I engage in extremely heated conversations pertaining to everything. And over the past month or so, she and I are like very divided on two particular issues, and it's quite possibly putting a strain on our relationship, on our friendship. And I think it's because I'm frustrated with her inability to see some things that are just extremely obvious to me. So the conversation in which she and I had last month stemmed from abortion. All right, so as many of you guys know, abortion is something that is readily a part of our society. It is wholeheartedly embraced. Most women in the United States are pro-abortion, pro-choice, because they feel like it's the woman's right to choose. And I'm not negating any of those facts. A woman should have control of her body. She should have the ability to choose things that pertain to her body, especially when it comes to her health. However, it's a little bit more complicated than that, okay? So let's unwrap abortion a little bit. And I know that this is quite controversial to have a conversation about, but hey, why not? The only way that we can get to the bottom of issues is to talk about them, right? So right now we're unwrapping the topic of abortion. Abortion became legal in 1967 with Roe versus Wade. Prior to that, many women were performing illegal abortions, putting their lives at risk, and there were many fatalities due to women having abortions at home or in somebody's backyard. So obviously it was problematic and caused enough controversy for the United States to pass the law in which abortions came legal, again, 1967. But here is where the unwrapping of the issue comes. The first is the woman who founded Planned Parenthood. Her name is Margaret Sanger. She was a huge supporter of eugenics. So what does that mean? Well, she spoke at a lot of very controversial platforms, like the KKK invited her to speak at many of their rallies. This is the founder of Planned Parenthood. And she wholeheartedly confessed in many of her books that she enjoyed speaking at events for organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, and she would receive any other invitation like that thereafter, because she supported the killing or the mass genocide of people whom she considered to be lower socioeconomics in class, not intelligent, morons. So what did this lead to? Well, let's fast forward to 2019, which is where we are now. Here we are in 2019, and since the legalization of abortion, since the wave of Planned Parenthoods, which are open all across the United States, what do we have? I'll tell you what we have. We have millions of children that are not here. But wait, this is the part that is the tricky part of the unlayering. We have 20 million African American children that are not here, thanks to Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, the passing of Roe versus Wade, and people accepting so wholeheartedly pro-choice. Do you know how many? I want you to think about that number. 20 million African American children are not here since 1967. That's bigger than pro-choice. That's genocide. Okay? So people like, and see, this is where things get tricky, super tricky, because people don't understand the unlayering and the historical dynamics which make all of these connections. But they tried to award Martin Luther King with the Margaret Sanger Award. He didn't support no Margaret Sanger. He said she's a proponent. He said that she is a proponent of black genocide. The massive killing of black children. So, the next layer to this conversation pertains simply to the value of life, right? So, the argument is essentially, come on, pups. Hold on, guys. The argument is essentially that it's not a human. It's not a human. It's just a fetus. It's not considered a human. So a woman can get an abortion up into whatever the time frame may be because it's not human. Well, I don't know what the hell it is. Is it a dog? Is she growing a plant? Is it a zebra growing inside of her womb? If it's not a human, what the HELL is it? And then we just buy it. Society says it's not a human. We're like, oh, okay. So anything they sell us, we just buy it. At some point, we have to question what we're told, what we're taught. It doesn't matter if the masses are condoning it. Now, I'm not saying that I don't support a woman's right to choose. However, I think that there's a lot more dynamics that involve abortion that we're not looking at, right? And then I started talking about the value of humanity. If we can kill 20 million African Americans in a 50-year time frame, easily, you go into the abortion clinic, you take out the fetus, you suck it out, put it in a bag, throw it away. If we can do that with a clear conscience, then how in the heck are we going to have high regard for humanity and value human life if we can so easily and readily make that choice to say, you know what, I don't want this. I don't want this baby. I can't afford this baby. I feel like our values are distorted. And because we are, from what I'm seeing, not valuing humanity and how amazing humanity is, we don't treat each other in the highest regard, right? And it's systemic. It has roots in things like what I'm talking about, right? Our inability to value and care about each other and treat each other, it's due to a lot of the conditioning in which we're exposed to. Most of us sitting on this, having this conversation right now, are completely okay with abortion because society tells us it's okay. And I'm not here to necessarily judge, but I am going to give you some pushback, and I'm going to say, why don't you take a look at that issue a little bit closer? So let's imagine that abortion weren't legal, right? Now keep in mind it's only been legal since 1967. So this is not something society since the beginning of time. It's a fairly new concept. Let's just imagine that it were illegal, right? And that society says, you know what? We're going to put greater value on humanity. We're going to value it more. So as a result, we're going to have to come up with some different systems as opposed to abortion, because we can't dare kill human beings. Imagine how that would collectively transform the thinking of our society. I think that the concept needs to be rethought just for the simple fact that Margaret Sanger, the founder of the Planned Parenthoods, quite systematically put these Planned Parenthoods, these abortion clinics, inside of urban areas, targeting Black women, and as a result, we now have 20 million African American children that are no longer here. Just that one thing, in my opinion, says, you know what? We need to rethink this. I'm going to stop here and look through the comments a little bit. Oh gosh, you guys, you trolls are just, sad. We're going to talk about another issue momentarily. I'm still just looking through the comments. What would I do differently? Pertaining to what? Pertaining to abortion? I think that it's a dated law that needs to be re-examined because we need to value humanity, human life more. So I think that we need to re-examine abortion laws. Okay, so as I was saying, puppies, come on, here, Roby, here, Nola. Hold on, I'm gonna put this light on. So I was saying that my best friend and I, Monica, she and our relationship became what I feel is strained due to this abortion issue because I feel she is quite conditioned by society, the system, right? And we all know who controls the system. to just accept what the hell they're telling us is okay. Just because the masses are condoning something, it doesn't mean that it's right. And I think one of the ways in which we can question that in a very obvious way is to look at the massive genocide of black children since 1967. That's the very first place where we can look and actually question and say, well, maybe our stand on this should be evaluated. Okay, so of course there's exceptions. I'm not doubting that, but most of the things in which I'm speaking of, are generalities. I'm speaking in general pertaining to a system. Of course, there's exceptions to every rule. I'm not speaking of the exceptions. I'm speaking about the general rules. Okay, so I was just speaking about us valuing humanity we need to value humanity more, right, in each other. And I think that segues nicely into the conversation about Smollet. Now, as you can see, society is they're slowly killing this man, black man, by the way, because we have white men who are committing crimes constantly that we're not really hearing about as much as we're hearing about Smollet. We heard very briefly just a small little snippet about the owner of the Patriots and him possibly being affiliated with sex trafficking. We heard about that for 2 seconds. Yet we're hearing about Smollet, who did orchestrate a crime, or quite possibly orchestrated a crime. There's evidence of him orchestrating a crime, yet we're hearing it. He only hurt himself in this ordeal. Let's keep that in mind too. He didn't hurt anyone else but himself. But we're hearing about this 24 hours a day. While we have issues, we have issues, we have real issues to contend to, yet we are all tuning in to the downward spiral of a black man who built his reputation in Hollywood. And I promise you, he made a mistake, a simple mistake, stupid. He made a mistake. And we are watching his demise. And it saddens me. It saddens me because you know why? We all make mistakes. Yeah, I came on live the other day and I said, Smollet needs to do damage control. And he does. He still needs to do damage control. And I made some suggestions as to what he can possibly do to do damage control. And I was making light of it. But I'm speaking more seriously today. Smollet has done is really not that big of a deal. Granted, he has wasted Chicago's resources. He sent police officers on a wild goose chase. Granted, the hate crime was orchestrated and it involved, because I'm not going to say it targeted gays. It didn't target gays. That was just a part of his ploy for his elaborated crime here, fake crime. I don't think he targeted gay people. I think that we're making it look like he targeted gay people. We're really going really hard on this man. And what I'm challenging society to do is show a little bit more compassion and forgiveness, because I don't think that he deserves what he's getting. And I heard that Terrence Howard, said on Thursday, dude, you need to come clean. He was yelling at him, making a scene on the set. And he was doing that. He was playing the father figure in real life because he knows what what the effects of this is going to be if Smollet doesn't come clean. So he was actually being a real father and saying, dude, stop this fucking lying. Like, we're in a society that will fucking fuck you up. Like, you don't get a lot of chances here. So Smollet does need to come clean, but this isn't about him. What I'm speaking about involves us, right? What if you made a mistake? What if this was your father or your son that concocted this crazy scenario and played it out? Would you want him to be eternally condemned for something this silly? Should we be feeding it this much energy? Should we? Especially knowing that the media and society targets black men specifically for their downfall. Should we be supporting this hoopla for a man that did something silly and only hurt himself? Or should we be like, you know what? Leave him the fuck alone. He fucked up. He made a mistake. Y'all let it go. He's a great actor. He built his career. Take the focus off of Smollet, and how about we go focus on the pay for his owner who could be involved in sex trafficking? I just feel like we feed into whatever it is that they feed us. They tell us what to think, they tell us what to believe, and we're like, oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, you're right. Fuck Smollet. I went on he could have hurt people by playing on people's emotions, but he didn't. What he could have done didn't happen. He didn't hurt anyone but himself. I'm speaking specifically of Smollet. I'm not speaking of R. Kelly. I'm speaking specifically of the Smollet situation in which we are condemning this man to his ultimate worst fate because he was dumb. He did something stupid. And I'm asking that you have more compassion for him because you have done something stupid. Your son has done something stupid. You watch people in your family do stupid ass stuff. And would you want to face this degree of scrutiny and have to wear an eternal scarlet letter? I feel like at some point we need to come to Smollett's defense. And we need to say, if you're going to condemn Smollet with this level of vigor, then can we please go after some others with this much vigor? I can make mention of a man who's controlling our country right now. And he's been accused of some way heavier crimes than this. But he's our president. The next point that I want to make pertaining to this is the fact that society will evolve because we are an evolving species. Society will evolve to a place to understand that we are all one love, one heartbeat. We are all connected. As we evolve, we're going to learn to see that you and I are not so separate. We're not so different. We mirror each other because we are one. We're from the same place. In terms of our earthly goals, we're here for the same reasons. And we're all united. Now, man, society separates us, but at the end of the day, we're all one. So when we talk about Smollet, when we condemn Smollet, when we condemn anyone, make sure that you realize that that will, in somehow, some way, directly reflect on you. Now, the direct correlation, I don't necessarily have all the answers for that. But the part that you need to realize is that we are bound by an eternal tether, right? We're all connected here. And let's just look at the fable. I guess it's not a fable. It's a biblical story in the New Testament. It's a saying. Many people know it. And I'm giving this example not from the religious perspective, but from the perspective of Just sharing this from a philosophical standpoint. But the character Jesus, if that's how you want to look at him, he literally says to the public, for those who have not sinned, please cast the first stone. And the reason that I'm giving that example is because we have all made mistakes. And we have to show more compassion collectively when it's due. I'm not saying that we have to let everything pass. Everything doesn't get a pass. But we should be able to feel. We should be able to be more connected to our feelings. When to know that it's time for us to show a great deal of collective passion. And I feel like Smollet is one of those places. It's obvious that he needs some sort of help. He needs help. I don't know exactly what he's gone through to put him in this place, but I went on his page and he disabled a lot of the comments for like his post for like the past month or two. But then when I was finally able to read the comments that are enabled, people are telling this man to die, kill yourself. And see, this stems back to the value of humanity. Kill yourself because you made a mistake? You came up with a silly hoax? You guys are fucking cruel. This cruelty is not going to get us to the evolution that we need. How dare you say that to someone? Because he made a mistake? So, that's my conversation about Smollet and about abortion. I'm going to read some comments, and then I'm going to talk about my last issue, which is I'm just looking through some comments right now. Oh my gosh. No, someone said that it's all about culture and class, not race. It's definitely about race and culture and class, but definitely about race. America's built on racial dynamics. We can't let that go. We can't act like that's not the truth. I'm not negating the fact that Smollet made a mistake. Those are the facts. But should we be condoning the extremely brutal takedown of this man? Is it worth that? Someone said compassion isn't reserved for deliberate liars. Why not? Why? We can only show compassion for certain people in certain instances. The point that I'm making is that we have to evolve to dig deeper within ourselves to be more compassionate and empathetic in general, because that's how we're going to get to the next level of evolution for humanity. Okay, so the last issue that I wanted to talk about pertains to black men in dresses. Billy Porter, I believe that's his name, Billy Porter, he wore a very elaborate gown to the Oscars. And from what I know, he considers himself to be a straight man. But he made the choice, quite intentionally, to wear a flowing gown to the Oscars. And I actually saw on the news this morning that he is going to likely get Best Dressed at the Oscars, this black man with this long flowing gown. And the reason in which he says that he wore this gown is, he said, I know that it's a political statement. I know that it's going to cause controversy, yet I always wanted to wear a gown. So what I would want to ask Mr. Porter is if he knows the history of black men having to wear dresses here in this country. So a lot of times when we look at cultural slavery or historic slavery, we have evidence of slave masters who quite intentionally made black men wear dresses for the purpose of feminizing them and making them feel less. Here, let me read something that I found in some research this morning. It says here, while the effects of psychological terrorism still inspired intense debates, it should prove helpful for perhaps one of the slave owners' more innovative cruel strategies concern the ways they enslave men by denying them the right chance. So, historically, we come from a place where systematically black men were not allowed to wear pants. So, here we are in 2019, in the day where slavery or slave mentality is supposed to be over because we have free choice. Yet we see a black man by his own choice wear a gown to the Oscars. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with black men claim to be heterosexual in dresses. Not because I don't support fashion. I do support fashion. I feel like free expression is one of the ways of the world. However, there are places where the buck has to stop. And when you purposefully put on a dress, I feel like you're slapping your ancestors in the face. Especially because we already have a lot of young black men who are very confused about their roles. Their fathers are quite possibly incarcerated or dead. So now we're muddying the waters even deeper and confusing the generations by saying it's okay for black men to wear dresses. We're perpetuating stereotypes that have been placed upon us since the 16 and 1700s. So it is my belief that we have to take a stand on certain things that should just be non-negotiables. We already have all these entertainers in dresses. You know, there's so many of them. Hollywood forces a lot of black men who break into Hollywood to play some sort of gay role, and they have to wear dresses. You know, so, and this is what society wants. The system wants you to be okay with wearing a dress as a black man. That's exactly what it wants. That's what it's always wanted. That's why I'm reading the evidence of what the slave masters were doing to their slaves 300 years ago. But I challenge you to push back and say, you know what? I'm not going to wear a dress. I'm going to take a clear stand against wearing dresses as a man so that I can be an example to the young men who are looking at me, who are already confused about their role here in America. I'm going to be an example. I'm not going to contribute to his confusion. I'm going to be an example, and I'm going to make sure that those lines aren't too blurred. So my girlfriend's like, well, Scottish people wear kilts. Those are dresses. That's cultural. You find cultures in Africa who wear dresses too. I'm not talking about culture. I'm talking about fashion. And how fashion can blur the lines for black men. And they're already confusing roles in the society. And she's like, well, you're being judgmental. Well, am I? Because, like I said to her, when you go in front of a judge, she's going to make a judgment. She's going to pick a position and render her decision based on her judgment. So we can't be a judgeless society. We have to make judgment calls so that, once again, we're able to progress. My judgment call is that wearing dresses for black men leads directly to systemic slavery and perpetuates the slave mentality. So I'm challenging black men to not wear dresses because it's very confusing for you, for people who are looking up to you, and it also perpetuates the neo-slave mentality. That's my position on it. That's my judgment. Pause. Okay, so I'm going to go through the comments a little bit, and then that's going to be all for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys want to know more about the man in the dress, here, I'll show it to you. Let me pull it up on Google really quickly so you can see his dress before I go. Hold on, I'm going to help you out. A second. His name is... Here he is. Here is your guy. Yes. Here we go. Here's your dress. There you go. Something else that my friend brought up was a man has the right to choose whatever he wants to wear. It's free expression. I'm not doubting that. I see that our society is an androgynous place, right? Where, there's no difference between a man and a woman. You can't even tell, it's just all the same. So I get it. I see where we're evolving to, but I'm the problems of the black man, right? And when you are a black man who for hundreds of years was made to wear a dress, then when you actually have your free choice, then you probably shouldn't wear a dress, seeing that's what you were forced to do for so many years. You should probably not wear the dress just for the fact that it was a psychological play on your manhood. So we can't apply the rules that we apply to everyone else to the black man, because the black man is the one who was enslaved. That means that we have to apply different rules specific for him. Free expression is fine, but we should also keep boundaries. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. We should definitely know our history to our ancestors to wear dresses. Do you think men wanted to wear dresses on the plantation? No. He wanted pants. And now we have the opportunity to wear pants. And this is what we get. And we get awards for this. Like, do we not see the problem? I didn't say he was a disgrace to black men. Don't put words in my mouth. I don't know Billy Porter. I didn't say he's a disgrace to black men. I said specifically pertaining to his choice to wear a dress should be reevaluated because of what our ancestors have gone through pertaining to forcibly having to wear dresses. I'm sure he's not a disgrace to black men at all. He's clearly brilliant. So don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I said. But people like him, especially who are in positions to make an impact and help define roles that are clearly very blurred, should not wear fucking dresses. We've got men in dresses. We got the rest of them in jail. What the hell? No, this is not okay. And nobody cares right now. People don't care about our history. I get it. But your history directly correlates to your life today and what your life's going to be like tomorrow. So you can keep not caring. And you can keep reaping. You can keep suffering from you not caring. Or we can start to care, especially collectively, so that we can change the trajectory. It's really up to us. I appreciate all of those who come here to engage in healthy conversation, healthy debate. I guess you trolls are just a part of the new society, but damn, you're annoying. Alright, so I'm gonna read a couple comments and then I'm out of here. And black men are the only ones doing it. Whites are not walking the red carpet with dresses. I didn't say it, you said it. Right, we're spending all this time talking about Smollet and his silly antics while Venezuela is in a complete uproar, like our priorities. But I want you guys to go and look at the comments on Smollett's page. You're going to have to scroll down because obviously he's disabled his comments. But I want you to read those comments and and tell me how they resonate with you. Because you should be hurt. Like, damn, you didn't have to go so hard on him. He just fucked up. He made a mistake. Kill yourself. Die. How dare you? You're a black disgrace. No, you're not. He's a man that made a mistake. Gosh. We're so harsh. We're so cruel to each other. This shit is not okay. I feel so bad for Smollet right now. He's getting no support. I think the only person that's supporting him is Terrence Howard, and that's sad. We should all support him. I don't care about his mistake, his stupid ass mistake. Now, if he did something that was like truly crazy, then we can sit here and have a different conversation. But I'm tired of seeing Smollet on CNN when we have Venezuela at the bottom. That does not make sense. Caitlyn Jenner is a white man and therefore falls into a different category of dynamics and rules for this country. Therefore, we cannot compare Caitlyn Jenner to our boy, Billy Porter. I'm not condoning Billy Porter's character, nor who he is as a person or his accomplishments. I'm simply speaking specifically about his choice to intentionally wear a dress and how that connects historically to our ancestors being forced to wear dresses for 300 years to quite intentionally feminize them and perpetuate inferiority. But what if police found some random white guys? Jussie would let them go to prison, and that's cool. But that's not what happened. BU11ET22, he said, but what if police found some random white guys? Jussie would have just let them go to prison, and that's cool? That's not what happened. We're talking specifically about the incident and how it played out. Specifically, what happened? No one else got hurt but him. You're changing the scenario. I'm talking about the scenario at hand. And if this man deserves to wear this eternal scarlet letter, but I promise you this, Patriots owner, I don't know his name, the guy who, over the past couple of days, he was accused of something that has to do with prostitution or sex trafficking. I promise you he'll keep his job. He will keep his job. I think that whom we choose to persecute is very, very uneven. And I'm tired of black persecution. At what point are we going to come together and just be like, stop fucking persecuting us? Hold on. Yes, of course you didn't know that black slaves were forced to wear dresses. You didn't know about buck breaking either, did you? Which means on a Sunday, a lot of white slave owners would take a black man, bring him out to a tree in a public square, hang him by his wrist, and rape him in public. You didn't know that either, did you? That's called buck breaking. Another way for a psychological play on the black man, on the black slave. Of course you guys don't know this stuff. What do you think, it's just readily out there? It's here though. The information is here for you. There were tons of humiliating, degrading acts that the slaves endured. As a result, here we are in 2019 and we perpetuate these things. They didn't teach you that. obviously, in homosexuality, saying that it's a homosexual act. But the act is more about control, humiliation, psychological warfare. I don't mean to bust your bubble, but there's some really serious things going on. And we need to be able to make the connections so that we can stop perpetuating them. Man, there's so many people that are starting to talk about the slaves who were indigenous of North America. I want to get into that topic. I just don't feel like you guys are ready for that because I know what you've been taught. And that conversation can shake a lot of people up. I'm going to read Darrell J. Steele's comment. He said, white people make huge mistakes publicly and it quietly goes away. A black person does it and we are crucified by our own people. Hence, go read the comments on Smollet's page. And hopefully you'll say, nah, they doing this brother too dirty. He just fucked up. I be fucking up all the time. Man, that's a hefty topic. All About Me says the fact that there is a foreign corporation occupying a land pretending to be the government. That's another loaded statement, but worth talking about for sure. Thank you. They don't want you to act like males. Of course not, because acting like a male would mean that you have a mother in the home, a father in the home, and as a result, you have children that are products of two parents, right? They have the male and the female making the whole, which in turn could help them be better citizens of the world, right? A lot of us on here didn't have our mothers and our fathers in our home, but imagine if you did. Think about the lessons you would have if you had both parents in the home. They don't want you to act like a male because then you would play your role as a father, as a leader. They don't want you to play those roles. Black on black hate. Once again, none of this is new. You guys know about the field slaves and the house slaves and the purposeful tension, right? That's the extent of what most of us know historically about black on black hate. Obviously, it's way deeper than that. But the point that I'm making is it's systemic. It's historical. It isn't new. What should be the punishment for Jussie, in your opinion? It's a class 4 felony, and he can face, I believe, up to 2 years in jail. The punishment by law doesn't so much concern me as opposed to the punishment by society. That's my concern. he can deal with whatever legal punishment he's going to be up against. But the societal condemnation, especially by his own people, that's the part that I'm struggling with. African Americans do have a national identity. We are the truest people of North America. We were born here, directly here. And we built North America. We are the people of this land. Don't let them tell you anything different. Born here, birthed here, created here. The African American was created on this land. The newest breed of people. We have a home. It's right here. And then we built it. So whoever tells you you don't have a home, this is your home. You are indigenous to this land. A combination of black and white, which made you you. What's wrong with using African American? I am African and I am an American. That's exactly what I am. Did you guys see my DNA? I posted it. Okay, well, it looks like live is getting ready to cut me off. Thank you guys.